the people who don't care about me, all of them said, this fight's never happening, you'll chicken out, you'll never get medically cleared, are you even allowed in London? How does it feel to take the L? How does it feel to take the L? Here we are. The fight's in 2 days. It's happening. Eat that L.
I do like to think I'm a wee bit different to other people online because I do know how to take an L, but they're called lolcows for a reason instead of a walkout because these guys know how to turn a W into an L. Whilst I was binge watching all the pre-fight promos, the interviews, the conferences, the debates, I did find myself kind of thinking, what's this match actually meant to be? Is this some inspirational story of two men who've been harassed and bullied online for a decade? They're trapped in their morbidly obese bodies and they're slowly overcoming all the odds to show the world that you can do anything you set your mind to! Or is this like a freak show boxing match of like two fat guys with their titties hanging out slapping each other that we're meant to be laughing at? I really don't actually know by watching the promos. I find myself asking this repeatedly as I watch us violently flip tones back and forth between these two and the promoters randomly talking about how much this means and how it'll change lives and change the world before going like, lol, these guys smell bad during their weigh-ins. Like, if this is a freak show match, cool. Like, advertise it as a freak show, lean into the meme. Wings is like a big angry dude who flips out. He talks about how he's gonna murder people. He talks about, like, how if cops tried to arrest him, he'd go out on a killing spree and see how many cops he could kill. He's just like an angry dude because they give him, like, a speeding ticket once, I guess. Boogie, on the other hand, is also an angry dude, but in kind of a different way. He's threatened people repeatedly, he's pointed a loaded gun at a guy's head for threatening to sissy hypno him. Both of these guys will also randomly talk about how they're trying to change their lives, how they're trying to change other people's lives, how this is their chance to show people that you could do anything, guys. The two of them are randomly flipping back and forth between being babyface and heel in this match, which is just kind of confusing. Like, surely Boogie, the fake nice guy at the internet, should be going for the babyface, and Wings, the big angry raging gamer, should be going heel. But then you have Boogie trying to gloat to Wings that Wings is poor and doesn't have as many subs as him, that he's a pathetic lolcow who deserves a title, whilst Boogie is a beloved legend of YouTube. It's a really weird dynamic because at times I thought he's going for like the boastful, gloating Ted DiBiase kind of Mr. Moneybags heel, but then he'll randomly say how he's already won because he overcame his disability and got out of his wheelchair, which isn't really a heel line. But why is there even this dynamic? Is it because it's a boxing match they just assume there has to be some kind of feud? On the very same preliminary card, one of the guys is fighting a mystery opponent we haven't seen yet, another guy dropped out like the day before and his brother had to take over, and another person also came in last minute. Also, by the way, congratulations to Boogie by somehow not being the most cringe person in the preliminary conference, because this Unbear guy, he's awful. I do kind of wonder if it was planned to have Boogie sit beside the living embodiment of cancer though. The audience know Boogie and Wings are working together to do a podcast here once the boxing match is done, so where's the beef? You have Boogie randomly saying how Wings is a pathetic person that everyone hates, he's a terrible person, he deserves all the hate, and then, like, the next debate, Boogie will say how he just wants to help Wings grow and how he sees himself in Wings and wants to save him. It's really weird. Of course, I'm not talking about any of the real controversies with each other. They're not talking about the abuse allegations, the CP allegations. They're not talking about any of that. Obviously not, because, you know, they want to promote the fight without people actually going after them. It's just kind of weird because the dynamic is, like, so grounded, but they're trying to build it out of literally, I don't know, it doesn't really work for me. The problem with this dynamic is it also infects how they advertise it. That this was a match no one thought would happen, which is true, I was definitely one of those people, but they claim that no one thought Wings would do it because he messed up his own career by refusing to go on the PK survival trip and cancelling last minute, which is true. But then for Boogie, they were randomly trying to argue that no one thought you would do it because you're so nice and wouldn't hurt a fly. Like, seemingly forgetting Boogie having to make a plea agreement for his violent felony charge against an unarmed man. They then must have realized it was dumb because they tried to like backpedal and talk about how no one thought you had passed your medical, but then Boogie, the day before his match in his video, was talking once again while staring off into the distance about how he couldn't bring himself to hurt anyone, all that kind of stuff, how he's never even been able to raise his voice to people. So I guess Boogie's also forgotten about the Frank Castle situation, or his story about how he hospitalized some kid in high school where he hulked out and beat him so badly that Boogie's family nearly got sued. So seriously, is this a freak show match or is it a motivational tale? Well, you have Keemstar in his documentary talking about the two guys and their lolcow status, but he does massively downplay their negative traits and the negative things that they have done to make them lolcows, and instead just kind of being like, oh, people are so mean and they bully them online. But then you also have Wings trying to like push his wife around in a wheelbarrow with a flat tire and have Boogie boxing with pizza boxes. You try and show how amazing these guys are for losing weight and working hard, but we only really get to see seconds of them apparently working hard, like across, like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 months, and we have no idea what their real weight was beforehand. or really even now. Because for some reason, Boogie's weigh-in was done as a joke, where Wings' weigh-in was done totally seriously. So even in the weigh-in, we flip back and forth between it being comedy and it being serious, and it just doesn't really make any sense. The motivational tale would make so much more sense if this was the two of them going away for a year and coming back and having lost like £100 each, but it was like 2.5 months later, which is still plenty of time to lose weight. But Boogie's potential joke weight is like apparently heavier than he was last year when he was claiming he was 389, and Wings has lost some weight, which is obvious, but it's not an incredible amount or anything. He was aiming for 380 and ended up 403. So it doesn't really work as a motivational tale, I think, for like anyone really. Maybe if you are already 600 pounds, maybe it's a motivational tale, I guess, but for like normal people like us, I don't really think it comes across that way. It also doesn't work as a freak show match though, because you're sitting there, you're wanting to have fun, you're here to see some big fat weirdos who are like obsessed with the internet with their titties hanging out, slap each other, hoping for some sick burns between the two of them, but then Boogie will just randomly shout about how he was abused as a child. It's like over and over and over again during the interviews, the debates, the promos, everything. Imagine you're doing like trash talk with someone and your best comeback is so good that you have to use it 8 times, and it's, well, you can't beat me up worse than my mom did. Oh well, I was able to withstand years of abuse by both of my parents, so you can't beat me up. Like, if it was meant to be like a funny match, I don't know how many like, random members of the public would laugh at child abuse being a repeated punchline. It doesn't really work. It is also kind of weird for, someone who knows enough about both parties that Wings does just come across as a much more likable and genuine person than Boogie, which is kind of weird to think about. I've always said how out of the 3 big gaming lolcows, which is Boogie, Wings, and DSP, Wings would probably be the least likable person. But I would still much rather talk to him than Boogie. Boogie is just such a fake person. He's always trying to perform, his performances aren't even very funny at that. Where Wings in the documentary seems like somewhat grounded and normal, he's a bit of an awkward guy, but he is pretty open. Boogie is immediately performative and just kind of cringeworthy. Where Wings takes you around his house, you see his family around him, he goes out, he exercises a bit, he has a bit of fun, he shows you his gaming setup, everything like that. Boogie's only thing he can show is his Halloween decorations. Again. Wings is often pretty honest about his chances, that he doesn't think this will change his life online. He's even questioned and talks openly about his trolls. Boogie's interviews, though, are a lot more performative. He generally just talks about how he's already changed his life. I've already won, guys, because I was in a wheelchair and I was abused by my parents. He brings up his embarrassing psychedelic stories, his child abuse over and over again, how he's changed his whole life, how he only cares about being entertaining and helping people, how he's just such a nice guy, how he's so kind to everyone, how Wings is not like him because he's just such a good and honest person and Wings is not a nice person. It's one of the biggest issues I've had covering Boogie recently. He's so repetitive as he just talks about his ideal mental image of himself that isn't really grounded in reality. Another massive issue to do with this whole thing is weirdly something Boogie actually brought up to try and use against Wings, that Wings isn't really capitalizing on this opportunity, that he's not really building that much hype around the fight, he's not making fitness vlogs, he's not going on podcasts to talk about it, he's not really making shorts about it or making call-out videos, but the thing is, neither's Boogie. Yeah, he's doing more than Wings, but it's been 2.5, nearly 3 months since the fight was announced, and there's shockingly little content out there, except for the last few days, which is mainly from the official producers. Wings has a few clips floating around of him trying to do some workout whilst he's on his live streams, and he's also got a couple of shorts of his training, but that's about it, where honestly he does look considerably better than Boogie, but also weirdly he just shows himself getting slapped in the face by his wife for a while. Wings, however, is a fairly reclusive guy nowadays though, so it's not shocking that he's not going on live streams and trying to build this up. Boogie, on the other hand, has made 4 videos in total about it, with the last one being right before the match happens, pretty much. Boogie did have his grand return to PKA to try and hype up the fight a wee bit, however, it didn't really work out too well, because it didn't really overperform or anything, which is weird because Boogie has done nothing but complain about PKA for the last couple of years, and talk about how they try to ride his coattail, and now he's going to them for attention. He also had an appearance on Camelot or Cantelot or whatever the fuck that guy's name is. It didn't even breach double-digit views. He also had an appearance on a live stream where he was doing an interview that was so small that it didn't even get 1k views the last time I saw it. And it's so small I couldn't even find it again when getting ready to do this video. So yes, Boogie certainly has done more for the match than Wings has, but that's not shocking. During my initial video on this, however long ago it was, I made the point that Boogie is using this as a platform to try and save his career and to get more attention, so obviously he's going to do more for it, whilst Wings is doing this for a paycheck, which Wings himself is very open in talking about, that he is broke and he needs the money. So it's not surprising that Boogie is trying to get more attention from it. But the thing is, for two guys who are like trying to like help their careers and save their careers, neither of them are actually putting any real effort into it. Like, remember, they're lol cows for a reason. You don't become like a lol cow by being a sensible person who can make good decisions, and you also don't become 500 to 600 pounds through hard work. They're both lazy people. This whole boxing event is honestly something that could have got them a lot of views, a lot of attention, and a lot of money, at least in the short term, but they're just too lazy to even actually do their jobs and make content for it. Outside of Keemstar's documentary, which he himself was upset about it underperforming, there really hasn't been a huge amount of buzz for this. Hell, even on Boogie's pre-match video, he couldn't even confirm where you could watch the match. He said it was going to be on Drama Alert or Happy Punch. Drama Alert is a drama channel, and Happy Punch doesn't actually have their own YouTube streaming channel. It's on Misfits Boxing. Like, imagine making a video to promote your own boxing match the day before, and you have no idea where it's even live streaming. His other videos weren't great either, with two of them just being the standard affair, talking about how much this means, how he's overcome so many obstacles, how he will gladly die in the ring to make people happy, what an amazing legacy he's going to leave behind him, all the normal shite. I remember I watched it on live stream with some of you guys, and I remember even starting to jump around through it, which is something I've never done before, but I was just so incredibly bored, especially watching the two of them back to back. The last one was also just one of those weird, painfully unfunny clickbait collaboration videos between himself and Kid behind a camera, and it was like awful, he looked terrible in it, it's bad. I don't really watch Wings of Redemption's content too much, but I have heard a lot of people complain that he generally just avoided talking about it. He's saying like he doesn't want to talk about his strategy, like he's actually taking it a wee bit seriously and he's worried about losing, but I think he didn't want to talk about his strategy because he just doesn't have one and he just doesn't really care, and he'd rather just talk about playing video games instead. I know a lot of people were unhappy with it, so I thought I'd just include that. But will this change their lives? Will this save their careers? Personally, I doubt it. Does, like, anyone remember Andy Worski having a boxing match with Salt Pappy from last year? Like, remember all the hype around that in certain online communities, and the second the match was over, no one gave a single shit? Boogie was talking on his video about there being millions of people going to watch it online on YouTube, and I don't believe that will happen. Like, I don't know how many people is going to be live. I'm going to watch it live, so I'll let you guys know. But Creator Clash got like 3.4 million views in the entire year that it was up. This is like some free preliminary boxing live stream where the pre-hype documentary for the main event got 150k views. I don't really know anyone in the preliminaries apart from these two. Boogie's begging video got 350k compared to 150k for this documentary. There's less hype on the internet around this boxing match of these two morbidly obese 400-pound men slapping each other than there were for people laughing at Boogie for begging for money. Let that sink in. So yes, guys, down in the comment section below there's going to be a pinned comment with a link to the match. Also in the description I'll include a link to the match. I know a few people have asked me to do a restream of it, and to be fair, guys, there are already quite a few people apparently doing that on YouTube alone. I've counted like 5 people already set up to do a restream. It's not really my bag. Like, I'd rather the main event actually get the attention, and I'll do my side piece afterwards if I decide to do one. Check my channel, though, after you watch this video, because I might do a blind side-by-side commentary where you guys need to have the match open in another screen or another tab. You know, like my anime waifus do. I'm just going to rip off their idea. So you guys can hear me talking in the background, but you have to actually watch the match on the main channel. I think that could be good and could be fair for everyone. But that's the video. I'm happy that this is happening. I honestly am. It's been one of the more interesting things to happen with Boogie since the start of the year. But still, guys, the biggest issue is Boogie himself. He can't help himself. He has to show up. He has to scream about his abuse over and over again. He has to remind the world why he is a lol cow, even though he still hasn't worked out why he's a lol cow. He takes a lot of the fun out of pretty much every encounter, where Wings can sometimes actually be funny on the mic. Boogie will immediately just go off some scripted line that doesn't work or falls flat or something like that, and then he'll, like, I don't know, complain about child abuse or some shit like that, or how he was disabled a few years ago, and it's just like, okay, cool, bro, can you just pick a theme or a tone or something like that? But I guess I can't. So yeah, that's the video, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.